You're listening to the Multiverse Fancast, proud member of the Misfit Faction Media Network.
Ready. All right then. On with the show.
Welcome back to the Multiverse Fancast. Don't forget you can take us on the go with Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, basically anywhere that you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to check out our social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, all those fun things. Just look up the Multiverse Fancast or the Misfit Faction. Guaranteed you will find us somewhere. I'm one of your hosts, Ronnie, and sitting across from me today is Paul. Paul, how are you?
I'm doing all right, Ronnie. How are you?
Doing great. Can't wait to dive right into this.
Are you sure?
I am.
All right.
So, we are fresh out of the movie theater from seeing Shazam.
Fury of the Gods.
I know, I was waiting to see if I changed.
No. Don't do that at my house, please. Can't afford the lightning damage.
But before we go into our thoughts for Shazam, we're just going to go over like a quick little backstory of the first movie, you know, kind of what happened. So basically, Billy Batson gets his powers, has one of the greatest montages of learning how to use his powers in it. And then basically the end of the movie, you have Dr. Thaddeus Savannah is like the big bad in it. And
he loses and gets locked up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
that
then,
was Shazam, and that's really all we're going to talk about for Shazam?
I mean, he also gives his power to his family.
So the first Shazam came out back in 2019.
Yeah.
So it's been about 4 years, and it did well enough on a budget of $90 million. It made $90 to $100 million. It made 366 for a character that was not in the common lexicon. Not bad. Great for a DC film. And what were your thoughts on the first Shazam?
I thought it was good. Didn't like blow me away, but I had a great time. It was a fun movie. I was excited when it was announced they were going to make a sequel because of how much fun I did have watching the first one. Yes. What about you?
I really enjoyed the first one. It was different for DC. It still had some of the darker tones that we were kind of expecting, but it was much more lighthearted. And you had a director, I think David Sandberg is his name, is the director. He directed both of these films, and he's got more of a horror background. And you could see it in both of these movies. Yes. Not to give anything away for the second one, but you could see the horror elements of, especially in the first movie, where there's a whole scene, and spoilers for the first movie, there's a whole scene where like the deadly sins like rip apart the board.
Yeah.
And it is like violent.
Yep.
And there were scenes like that pushed the PG-13 rating. I mean, the first Shazam was basically big meets superheroes. That's really how it was marketed, to the point where they even did the keyboard in one scene. That movie had no business being as good as it was. And we had gripes, I think, if memory serves correct. I think we probably averaged around like a 3.5, 4 in the studio. But it was a good time. And Zachary Levi, he nailed it.
Yeah.
He is the definitive man boy, or man-child, I believe is the more common phrase. But, you know, like you had him facing off against Dr. Savannah. At the same time, Black Adam was still in the works. And obviously we've seen where that happened. And the thing about the first Shazam was it was very loose in the DC continuity. Yeah. Like they made a lot of references, but in all honesty, looking back at the first Shazam, it could have been its own thing in a DC universe. Yeah. It probably would have been the easiest for them to transition into this new DCU without too much headache. Yeah. Like in that first movie, there's merchandise, like superhero stuff, like all that, which I find interesting because in all honesty, if superheroes were real, and we did a whole episode about what the world would be like with real-life superpowers, that's how it would be. You know, it would be merchandising and trademarking and branding. I think in the Death of Superman comic books, when Superman came back, apparently Superboy had already trademarked the name Superman. So they tried to sue him for it. And he's like, I'm going to have a talk with that kid, don't worry. But like stuff like that would happen. And even more in like today's, what was the... in the first movie, he had like the replica Batarang, and then he had the bullet that bounced off Superman, authenticated and all that stuff. And of course, you had the cameo, quote unquote, cameo of Superman at the end. Yes. Which, cool, but still so disappointing.
Yeah, you didn't get to see a face in that one.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't matter if Henry Cavill cameos in your movie, apparently. Yeah. But I definitely dug the first one, and for me, it still holds up. I could still, if it's on, I'll put it on. Yeah. And I think it benefited from the Christmas motif, especially with all the family stuff and all that. Yep. So I dug the first one.
Yeah. You know, so basically that's kind of where that movie leaves off and where this movie kind of like picks up. It doesn't actually say how long after the first one, but
This one?
yeah,
2 years.
Oh, it did say 2 years?
It said, yeah, 2
Shows
years.
I paid attention to that.
Yeah, but
I was going to say, it was probably a couple years.
yeah, but apparently a lot's happened in 2 years because I guess Black Adam happens in the interim.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume so based off of the end credit scene.
I mean, it has to be modern-ish.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Black Adam really quick because Black Adam is considered to be Shazam or Captain Marvel, as he was originally known, his main antagonist.
Yes.
And in more recent years, he's become that anti-hero that we saw in Black Adam. If memory serves correct, we enjoyed Black Adam enough. It didn't blow us away. I know it's on HBO Max. I haven't watched it since.
I haven't either.
I've seen clips and stuff like that, and some of the stuff that I really did enjoy. But for me, especially with all the hype, and it's weird because it's like watching Swamp Thing. I wanted to watch Swamp Thing, and then they canceled it immediately. So I was like, why am I going to watch 12 episodes of a show that I know is just done?
Yeah.
And now, ironically enough, it's getting revitalized in this new DCU.
Yeah.
But for me, when you think about Black Adam, like we were building up to Black Adam versus Shazam.
Yeah.
And now I don't think we're ever going to get it.
I don't think so either.
And now Dwayne Johnson's been taking some shots at, James Gunn, not my game, not my quarterback or whatever.
Yeah.
You got Ben Affleck saying he'd never come direct. But he was like, I won't direct for James Gunn, but like I have nothing against him. It's just not where he did an interview recently about everything that happened on Justice League. I like how they're all kind of talking about it a little bit more now that Joss Whedon doesn't have his clout.
Yeah.
Per se, because that was a big thing. He literally said to Gal Gadot that he'd ruin her career.
Yeah.
But so now they're doing a lot more talking about it. Now, apparently, speaking of which, there is apparently something coming. I don't know if you heard about this, Ronnie, but Zack Snyder posted a message from Darkseid and 3 dates, April 28th, 29th, and 30th.
Yeah.
So there are rumors of probably a theatrical release of the film, of some of his films, like Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and then possibly even Zack Snyder's Justice League in theaters, or something different. But there's a big clamoring for him to get to continue his DC stuff on Netflix.
Yeah.
I think it might be in James Gunn and DC's interest to look at alternative storyline telling.
Yeah.
Right? Superman and Lois just came back for season 3. Gotham Knights just started on the CW, and it was bad. It was really bad. Like, I did a review on it on our website, themisfitfaction.com. So check it out. Like, hear my thoughts, because I'm not going to get into it. But I'm going to give the show a fair shake and try and tough it out. But, oh, my God, it was rough. So it would be in DC, especially now all the CW shows are going. Flash is on its last season. Batwoman's gone. Black Lightning's gone. Obviously, Arrow's gone. Legends of Tomorrow. So for Superman and Lois to be the last one standing, I wonder if they're still doing that Superhero University with John Diggle.
I mean,
I haven't heard much.
I haven't heard anything. At this point, why?
Yeah, there's no point.
At this point, just either do it, but make sure it's not CW. Put it on HBO Max.
I feel, but like the problem is they also canceled Young Justice. They canceled Titans. They can't they're wiping their slate completely clean and. I can see why. It's either a fresh reboot or nowadays people can tell different storylines. Like it's fine if you do something. You don't have to go the Disney route where everything is connected. That was the benefit of Flash and Arrow. Like you didn't have to watch 5 movies to know what was going on.
Yeah.
Even Arrow you could have watched without maybe just a couple of the crossover episodes, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But I think there's no reason that they shouldn't have some sort of even just a finishing of Zack Snyder's universe.
Yeah.
I think something really could come from it, but we'll see what happens when The Flash comes out.
Yeah, which is a movie that...
And Aquaman.
Yeah. I think no one's too excited for Flash. I think a lot of people are more excited to see Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Well, I'm excited that they reshot the ending, supposedly.
Yeah.
Because the ending was rough. And I hate... Or the spoilers came out about how the Flash movie was supposed to end, and I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated reading it because as I read it, I was like, this is what they're going to do.
Yeah.
It made sense, especially considering Batwoman was going on, and then Batwoman gets scrapped. And then suddenly talks of reshoots because they did do reshoots because people were pissed that they brought Ezra Miller in to do reshoots in the midst of all this controversy that he was in. But
No, I said yeah.
Oh yeah. So I don't know. Like I don't know what they did for this film. If they changed anything or if they did reshoots to kind of accommodate. Do you think we're gonna have anything come from this?
No. I mean, I don't think so. Just because it is DC. But at the same time, I feel like we need to have some sort of universe-changing thing at the end of Flash.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, there's no one returning except for...
Aquaman's the only movie coming after.
Right? I mean, yeah, you know, you got Gal Gadot. There's no news on that front about, like, a movie. Is, you know, Gal Gadot, whatever her name is. You know, is she... still Wonder Woman, like there's no...
that was a big thing too.
You know?
Apparently, because, again, we go back to this Flash movie because there's so many rumors and speculations. There was... First report said that her, Henry Cavill Superman, Ben Affleck, they were all going to be in it. That was the rumor. And then it turned into, well, Cavill and Gadot got cut. But now they're saying that Gal Gadot didn't get caught.
Yeah.
Gadot.
Gadot?
Cavill. Oh, God.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see what we won't know until we finally sit down and watch it. But apparently, Ben Affleck says it's the best version of Batman he's ever done.
Interesting.
Like he claims that he's only in he says that in the 5 minutes that I'm in the film, which could be totally conjecture, it's the best that I've ever done. I finally got the character, and I'm curious to see what that means. And we'll talk about that when we talk some spoilers, because apparently there were some potential spoilers of cameos in this film, but.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just such a weird time to be a DC fan because you have Peacemaker season 2 still happening supposedly.
Yeah,
and that's in the continuity. So the best thing that they could do is when Flash comes out, like, could they do a completely clean break and reset everything completely? Sure.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that they're going to be keeping some of these actors and actresses, and they're just not going to know what happened. Like kind of like how at the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths, like the worlds merged and. They were the only ones that remembered. Nobody else did. Yeah. So I could see Barry Allen coming back after Flashpoint and encountering, well, that's, you know, Batman Bruce Wayne, but that's not that person. Like, I'd be fine with that. You know, keep your Peacemaker, again, and see, that's another example of how they could still do HBO Max stuff on the side. But what do I know?
Nothing.
I'm just a handsome podcaster.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
All right. But before we go into our spoilers for the movie that we just watched, which was Shazam. Wow, words are tough for us today.
Especially considering how many times I said it in the film.
Yeah, right? Let's go through our non-spoiler review. So just a quick couple sentence or so, a little review for the folks that have not seen it yet, that are maybe on the fence about seeing it.
Okay.
Why don't you go first there?
All right.
Buddy boy.
So for me, again, I really enjoyed the first movie, and I will always be a staunch DC defender. I actually thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Normally, we try not to do reviews right after we walk out of the theater because we tend to still be riding like the coattails a little bit. But just in the like our car ride was dead silent.
Yeah,
we drove back together, and I barely said a word. And I'm like sitting there, and I'm breaking down the film in my head. Like, all right, what are the themes? What are the things I liked? What are the things I didn't like? And I'm finding way more good than bad. Like. You took the first movie, which had a theme of, you know, finding my mother. That's what I need to do. And, like, I don't need these people. Now, suddenly it's flipped on its head. And that's not spoiling anything. It's just the themes of the film. And this film has a very different theme. It has a very different feel. And it had some really nice moments. Yes. Like, the first one did, too. Like, some of those strong family moments. This one did also. And, you know... Ronnie and I both have siblings, and we've grown up and grown apart. It happens. Yeah. And this movie kind of tackles that and that idea, and I think they do overall a good job. I would watch this movie again.
Yeah. I agree with you.
This is going to be a boring podcast.
Yeah. This was better than I thought. I feel like with DC, usually the second movie is usually like a lot worse than the first movie for DC typically.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm going through all of them in my head.
I mean, like Wonder Woman
84 is just bad.
Yeah.
That is I find that's more Patty Jenkins than anything else. Yeah. But yeah, Wonder Woman 84 is bad.
You know, so like in my head, going into this, I was like, all right, it's DC. It's a sequel. It's not going to be as good. But again, this is a solid, good movie. 10 out of 10 would recommend to go see it. Not spoiling, you know, my Star City rating for later. But,
I was about to say we only do out of 5.
but yeah, definitely go see this if you're on the fence, and then make sure you stay for the mid and the end credit scenes. But yeah, the theme in this is very similar to other franchises, which is actually quoted in this movie. So it's, the theme is family.
They got away with a lot of references. There's one reference that they make and it's during the mid credit scene, and I don't want to I definitely don't want to spoil it. Even in the spoiler section, I might not even mention it, but it is right up there with the Lego Batman movie.
Yep.
When the computer's like, "What's your password?" Iron Man sucks. Like it's up there with it in terms of just cheekiness. And I was like, wow. And I find that Shazam works best in that comedy role, but it's such a disappointment that we're never going to see him along like Superman, Batman. Like, I would love to see Shazam and Batman interact. In Young Justice, did you watch any of Young Justice?
Yes.
All right, so in the first season, there's a great episode where they're trying to pick out characters or superheroes to fill the ranks of the league.
Yeah.
And they bring up, what's the age criteria? Like, we got Robin, who's 13, and Miss Martian, who is 14 or whatever, but she's actually 108. Yeah. And they bring up Captain Marvel, because that's what they called him, because they had just found out that he was actually a child. Yeah. And he's like, why is everybody looking at me? And they're all like, well, you didn't tell us, and a lie of omission's still a lie. Like, nobody on the league knew. And Batman just chimes in. He's like, well, first he defends Shazam. They wanted him to leave. Yeah. Well, they talked about it. He's like, nope, he's a member of the league. He gets to stay until voted out. Yeah. And which is why it's like a version of Batman I really like, where he's got kind of like the gruff father figure. But they go, well, nobody knew. And Batman's like, I did. Yeah. And they're like, well, of course you wouldn't have a problem with it. You recruited Robin at the age of 9. Yeah. And he says a great line. He goes, Robin needed to find justice for the death of his parents. And Wonder Woman calls him out like, so he'll turn out like you. Yeah. And Batman says, no, so he won't. Yeah. And it's a great line. It's just such an incredible line. Oh, I got chills. Because there's been a lot more recently about Batman's codependence on sidekicks. Titans did a great job. Yep. Where after Jason dies in season 2, he goes into like a frenzy trying to find a new Robin. Yeah. Like panicking to the point where he grabs Nightwing. He's like, do you want to be Robin again? You can be Robin again. And it's just like he's breaking down. Yeah. So much to offer, and yet we still here we are.
But yeah, so before we go into depth with our review on Shazam Fury of the Gods, we're going to take a quick break. But again, when we come back, we're going to go right into Shazam Fury of Gods.
Hey guys, it's Paul, and the Misfit Faction is looking for your help. We are trying to grow not only our network, but also grow our brands, and the best way to do that is if you guys are looking to start your very own podcast. Maybe you guys have been listening to us for a while. Maybe it's something you guys have always wanted to do, but you're not sure how to get started. If you go to podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys will get a month of free podcasting set as a gift from us. So make sure if you guys are looking to start your own show, you reach out to us and go to podbean.com/misfitfaction. Also, maybe you guys have your own online business or service that you're always looking to grow, and advertising is a very big part of that. If you guys go to sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys can get $100 worth of free advertising, again, as a thank you from us to you guys. That's sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to jump right into our conversation about Shazam Fury of the Gods. So this takes place 2 years after the first movie.
Spoilers. Everybody, spoilers.
Well, they already know. I said that.
Yeah, because I told you.
No. What?
Oh, the 2 years thing?
Oh. I thought you meant like give them a spoiler warning. I was like, no, they already know we said it.
Yeah.
The commercial break was a spoiler warning.
Yeah, it's stupid. I don't know what you're talking about.
But basically, to summarize this is all about Billy Batson wanting his family to be more like a family when it comes to fighting crime.
He's trying to keep them all together.
Yeah.
Because they say that he's turning 18, so he's aging out of the foster program. We do find out that Mary aged out, and instead of going to college, she stayed to be part of the Shazamily.
Yeah, Shazamily.
Shazamily. That's going to be the phrase that apparently is being used. Mm-hmm. So in the Marvel family also. Yeah. But we find out though that let's start the movie off with. So when the movie opens up with that scene of Greece, and I was like, oh no, not a flashback.
Yeah.
It turned out to be that was a disturbing scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of the few times where armies of CGI monsters actually really works, especially in the ending battle.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the Daughters of Atlas. They come in and they don't mess around.
No.
Like let's mention the cast then. We got Helen Mirren as, I'm never going to be able to pronounce these names. Hespera. And then you have Lucy Liu as, where is she? Calypso. Yeah, that one's easier. And then we find out, again, spoilers, Rachel Zegler as Anthea/Anne.
Yeah.
And Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, because that's what I'm going to call them,
Yep.
decide that, they capture the magic or the staff of the wizard Shazam.
Yes.
So it's interesting. I'm so glad they finally addressed what his name is.
Yeah.
Because he said what his name was in the first movie. He said his name was Shazam.
Yeah.
Stupid. But we'll get to the ending. But
yeah.
Are we going to go beat by beat, you think? Or you want to just talk about favorite scenes? Or
we'll go beat by beat.
So after they massacre the entire museum.
Yeah.
Turn them all. Why didn't they just start with the stone? I feel like that would have been nicer.
Yeah. Why not just
turn everybody to stone first?
Turn everybody to stone, take what you got to take and go.
Yeah. So they explain that staff is what was keeping everybody imprisoned and keeping their powers away from them. And it is exactly what it was in the last movie. It steals powers. Yeah. Which is weird because Billy gets hit with it a few times by Dr. Sylvana, and he never loses his powers.
Yeah. I wonder if it's got something to do with you have to be like a god, maybe?
Maybe it was set to Wumbo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably would explain it. Or Sylvana didn't know how to use it.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. But we cut back to Billy at the pediatrician's office. Yes. Apparently, the doll from Annabelle the doll is on display there.
Oh,
she was in the first movie too. Because I think either a writer or a producer or somebody was involved with that project. Oh. Yeah, she was in the thrift shop in the first one that he traps the cops in. So one of the things that I really did enjoy though is they're terrible superheroes.
Yes.
Like, yes, they saved every person on that bridge. And I actually really enjoyed how it's like, all right, now to save this bridge. And it cuts to the news report if it just collapsed. Because that's always one of my things in superhero movies. I think we talked about it a little bit at some point. We talked about it with why superpowers would suck, probably. Where Supergirl tries to blow out a fire, but she ends up making it spread because of the oxygen.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know what to do then.
Yeah.
So I like seeing stuff like this where the heroes... They're much more experienced than they were in the first movie. Yeah. But don't forget, in the first movie, he only saves like 4 people.
Yeah.
And then the ending battle, which, you can argue he saves a few more. But I don't know. Like, it's just something for me. Because also, they never specifically say it, but they kind of allude to it in this film. Each member of the Shazamily, one of their powers is better than the others. Yeah. So, like, for Mary, she's way smarter. And they address that a few times. Like, she has the wisdom of Solomon. Yeah. For Freddy, he flies better. That's why he was able to fly right away in the previous movie. Darla's the fastest. Pedro is the strongest. Eugene has the best lightning. And then Billy is just kind of a jack of all trades. Yeah. Because he's like the Shazam of them. Yeah. So I really did enjoy it. Like, it sets the tone. It kind of shows that they're still new to the game, but they're all still... And, it sets the mood. Yeah. Especially between Billy and Freddy.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's good because you see the struggle and you see them address the chaos that comes from superheroes when they're saving things and everything gets destroyed. Yes, people are alive, but everything gets destroyed. And then what? Who pays for that? Kind of thing. And
I'll tell you who, the American taxpayer.
Yeah, right?
That vigilante Spider-Man's a menace.
All right there.
Thought you'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I did.
I know you did.
You want to go work for the Daily Bugle now?
I would love to. Are you kidding?
But I like how they address it because, again, that never really gets addressed in movies.
Yeah, it took almost like 12 Marvel movies for them to really address it with the Sokovia Accords. Yeah. They do. So it's funny because in Batman vs. Superman, they addressed it in terms of just saying that everything's abandoned. That's abandoned. Yeah. Don't worry, it's abandoned. The port is abandoned.
Yeah, right?
So.
And it's good because... And it shows the struggle, too, because they have their little meetings at the Rock, and they're...
The Rock of Eternity that they've picked out.
And they're like, all right, this is our game plan. This is what we need to work on. Like, and it shows, like, all right, just because you have superpowers doesn't mean, like, you know what to do right away.
Is it weird that they're there in their superhero forms?
Yeah.
I mean, a throwaway line like, oh, we can travel through any door, but we have to be like this to do it, would have gone a long way.
Yeah. I mean, it could just be one of those, all right, we saved it, now back to the Batcave.
Yeah.
And you're in uniform, so.
Which I don't mind, but
No.
I find it very strange that, what's the kid's name? Asher, no.
Which one?
Yeah, Asher Angel, who plays Billy
Oh,
Batson.
yes.
He got second billing in this film.
Mm-hmm.
He's barely in it.
Yeah.
It is way more Zachary Levi than
Oh, yeah.
very much the opposite of the previous movie, where he spent a lot of time as young Billy.
Yeah.
Which, again, I would also argue it's because kid got older.
Yeah.
Like, he's 18 in this movie.
Yeah. A lot of them are in their Zam form for
Way more often.
Way more often, with the exception of Freddy.
And also Mary, arguably, because it's the same actress this time.
Yeah, well, yeah. True.
Oh, Mary
But-
Marvel. She could save me any day. Yeah, I know, right?
But yeah, no, Freddy's in this because Freddy's kind of like the main focus in this movie. When we get kind of introduced to them and everything, he's getting bullied. He stands up for the new girl in this.
Yo, can we still talk about how vicious those bullies are? The
Yeah.
first movie, they tried to kill him, straight up murder him.
Yep.
And in this movie, they're still beating up a crippled kid. Like,
Yeah.
And then the teacher walks up, and I was like, cool, teacher, Dietrich Bader, I like him.
Yeah.
He voices Batman on Harley Quinn, which is hilarious. And he just kind of tells them to shove off. Like, they didn't get in any trouble.
Yeah.
But I still like that scene. We'll talk about Dietrich Bader because that was one of the saddest. That was a sad scene what they did to him, and vicious. And like, say what you will, what's his name? Jack Dylan Grazer is the kid who plays Freddy. He sells it this movie. He gets to show his chops a little bit more, and I think he's going to be a really good actor.
Yeah,
like he already is, but I think he's going to find.
He's going to be in it for a while.
Yeah, and he's only going to get better, which is great.
But yeah, so he's still getting picked on. He stands up for the new girl, and
Rachel Zegler, played Maria in West Side Story. That was her most recent claim to fame. But I'll say it, she's very attractive.
Yeah,
I'll say it. Get out of here. Leave me alone. But I think she does a great job in this movie too. Like she was good in West Side Story. Yeah, but she kills it in this one. 21 years old. Like she's young. Yeah. Wow. All these kids.
Well, I mean, that's what they are.
I know.
In the movie, the kids.
I know.
Right? You don't want to have like a 30-year-old playing a 15-year-old.
What? Why would they ever do that?
Yeah, right?
Now, do you think that they sent her there specifically for Freddy? Because he was the superhero kid?
I think so, because they
never say it.
They don't, but like you kind of like assume that.
In all honesty, Steve the Pen should have written this script.
Yeah.
Because there are some holes in it.
Yes, there are. Yeah, there's quite a few things that you kind of got to be like, oh, maybe that's because of this or whatever. And this is one of those things. It's like, well, she's young looking, so send her to the high school because they know this is
the superhero kid. Yeah.
How do they know it's a superhero kid? But it is the superhero kid because, I mean, she even said, she goes, oh, you're the one that's friends with the superheroes?
Yeah.
So somehow they knew that. I mean, they're not from the
internet.
Yeah, right.
Remember, Freddy had a YouTube channel in the first movie, and he posted all the videos of Captain Sparklefingers.
Yes.
Thunder Crack.
Do you think that these three gods
I don't
know how to use the internet?
I don't know what the gods can do, in all honesty.
They're from a different realm, too. But
you're from a different realm.
I wish.
I know.
I'd have powers. No. But, so I'm assuming somehow they knew he was the Friends of Superheroes somehow, some way. So, I mean, why not send your 8,000-year-old sister that looks like she's like 17, 18 years old?
Yep.
But that's kind of like where things get started off, is with that, and the sisters getting the staff.
And we also find out that Shazam is alive.
Yes.
That he just could not handle, like his body couldn't handle the strain of being on the mortal plane anymore, so he went back to the deity realm.
Yes.
Okay. Silly explanation. They could have done better.
Yeah, especially at the end of the movie when he's like, I'm going to adventure around your planet.
Oh, so now you're fine.
Yeah.
I got an Uber. All right, we'll make it a joke. It's fine. But so basically the plot is the sisters or daughters of Atlas are trying to get the staff, and they are trying to get the apple or the seed of life.
Yeah.
Now, this is where it gets interesting because they capture Freddy and they have him and Shazam held captive. We don't need to go plot by plot that thoroughly. But I found it very interesting that they all had a different goal.
Yeah.
And Helen Mirren does a great job playing Hespera.
Yep.
She's like the elder, the leader, and she doesn't want to kill humanity. It seemed like she was going to be like that at first.
Yeah.
But then we find out that her plan is just to revitalize their realm.
Yeah,
like
she just wants that to go and then go back to their realm and
just plant the seed there and build it back up. Okay,
yes.
cool. Like, there's no reason why. Unfortunately, Freddy ruins it.
Yeah,
Freddy actually ruins it.
Yeah, it's because of Freddy that we get like the battle scene.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, it's because she was like, "All right, go put that in there," and Freddy tries to steal it, and they're like, and Lucy Lou's like, "See, humans are bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to take over now." And she does.
Yeah.
And killing Helen Mirren was rough.
Yeah.
Again, viciously violent.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, so with the dragon, because I forget what the dragon's name was.
Jeff. It was Jeff.
What?
It's not Jeff. I'm
No.
kidding.
I'm pretty sure it started with an L.
Yeah, something like that.
But like you hear her like giving commands to the dragon.
Yeah.
But then when it came to kill Helen Mirren's character, it just did it. So like confusing there too. You know, it's like why did the dragon kill her? Because the dragon wanted to take over the world too. Like
I did like the dragon, like the fear thing.
yes.
At first, I was like, "Well, why isn't everybody just cowering in front of it?" And then I realized that it has to it's a special ability for it to use.
Yeah, it's got to like focus in on its target.
Layden
Yes.
the dragon.
See, I told you it started with an L.
You were right.
Look at me go.
I know. But I did like, and then the scene of Freddy like fighting through that to get to Anne was I really liked it. And then them just yelling. They had good chemistry. I think they really worked well together.
He showed like his I'd say not his power because he was powerless both times, but like you know like that strong will that he has. Like there was two times that
mind control
Lucy
scene
Liu said like, "Wow, he's stronger than we thought," or you know whoever said
that
it.
That torture scene was rough.
Yeah,
like because you saw her use that ability on other people.
Yeah,
and they just kind of were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
like, Diedrich Bader actually walks off a roof. Like
yeah,
there is nothing more powerful than a human's will to survive.
Yeah.
But Freddy, he resists it,
Yeah.
and he never gives it up. Mm-hmm. He was about to, though, when the bird thing came in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Listening to Helen Mirren read that letter was the funniest thing.
Yes.
But going back to Freddy, like, what does he say? He goes, Destiny's Child did it better.
Yes.
Because she keeps saying, say the name, say the name, say the name. And just, it looked so painful, and he sold it.
Yeah.
And it's hard, because, like, for those things, you're standing on a green screen. Mm-hmm. You're surrounded by, and in his case, he's surrounded by a ton of seasoned, really good actors and actresses. And there's no visual effects. Like, these are all added in post, like looking at the eyes. And they're basically like, all right, so you have to scream like you're dying. All right, I got
look
this.
Like you're in pain and start crying and
yeah. This movie did a lot of expectation subversion. Like when they get to the end of the maze, they turn around and they go try and help still.
Yeah.
Lucy Liu turning into the actual bad guy as opposed to Helen Mirren.
Yep.
And just they straight up kill Billy.
Yeah.
It cuts to the funeral scene. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Like I knew he wasn't actually dead, but I was like, they did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woof.
I think he even went like, wow. Like like while we were like watching the movie or whatever. But this movie had some like tear jerking moments.
Tear
and,
jeers? Not the tear jeers.
Yeah. And like heart wrenching moments in it too. You know, like when Billy dies and everything. Like us sitting there in the theater, we know he's not actually dead, but like just watching everyone be like, no, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
What was that?
It was no.
I like it.
But no, this movie definitely was a very good movie. What was one of your favorite things from this movie?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna say it when Wonder Woman steps out.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with the Shazam family or anything, but the music. I love Wonder Woman's theme.
Yeah,
it still always gets me, and like they did it, and it was good, and they still have her as a nice blend between that newer direction that DC movies were going and the older ones.
Yeah,
and she served a purpose. Yes. She was a purposeful cameo.
Yeah,
and apparently they were going to try. They originally wrote cameos for Batman and Superman too, where it was going to cameo. Superman was going to be punching the dome, trying to get into it, and Batman was just going to be standing there looking at him, which I thought would have been great. Like, and you could use doubles for that, and it would explain, like, you know, is nobody there to do anything?
Yeah,
but The Wonder Woman cameo was probably one, and I like seeing Harcourt and Economos, yeah, again. Yeah. But as far as like I would put this cameo, the Diana cameo, maybe top 5.
Yeah,
and he still asks her out.
Yeah,
love it. Yeah, the confidence he brought to the table just there.
I like their little trick with Wonder Woman.
Oh, when he's actually Shazam.
Like we were like sitting there. I'm sure everyone's like, yes, we're fine. We know it's coming and it's here. Then like it's just.
Oh God, it was horrific. Jimon
Hunsu's face. That was great.
Oh God, I'm gonna have nightmares about it. It's terrible.
That was great.
It was funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially because they didn't like just turn the whole body into him. Like they left the body with just the face.
Oh my God, and it was still better than Darren Cross in Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Oh God. I would say weird favorite scene of mine is when they show up in the house and like Pedro's depowered and they're all powered up and they got and they're trying to explain to the parents.
Yeah.
And I will honestly say when they do the scene where like we're superheroes and Pedro goes, I'm gay.
Okay, yeah.
So we're not laughing at that concept. We're not laughing at him for being gay. We're laughing just because it was funny in the context. And but I love their reaction. They all are like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, right.
They allude to it in the first movie when they pop up in the strip club. Yeah. And he's like, not for me.
Yeah.
That was the illusion. But like they were not subtle in this movie. Like he's watching baseball because he has a crush on one of the baseball players. Yeah. Like I thought it was actually it was handled well.
Oh,
and I like how for him it was the biggest deal. For him to say that, like just I think we're gonna die. I want my family to know. Like I want to be honest with myself. And they're like, dude, we know. Yeah. It's cool. Like we don't care.
Yeah. They're like, that's cool, but there's still the dragon.
Dragon. But I don't know why it's a scene that stuck with me. Yeah. And we need more scenes like that where it doesn't feel so forced.
Yes.
And it feels very organic and very natural. And again, I like seeing characters that have complexities to them, especially with children where Darla was really cute in the first movie. Mm-hmm. But in this movie, she was, now she's older. Like it's not as cute.
No.
But she did,
especially when she curses. Well, she doesn't.
Oh my God,
curse.
that was the best.
She didn't actually curse.
Yeah,
because what was it? It was mother.
She was gonna say the F. She was gonna drop the F bomb. Yeah, mother effer.
And it was like we're gonna get those mother. And then it was like loud noise or whatever. But there were a couple of payoffs that I did like with the unicorns.
Unicorns was a fun payoff.
And Skittles.
Yep,
was a good payoff. And then at the end of the movie when Billy dies, we kind of get oh my God, I can't think of the word right now because I'm so bad when it comes to English terms.
Catharsis.
No, but in the beginning, when he wakes up and Freddy's not in the room with him because Freddy's fighting crime when he's not supposed to be. Yeah. And that ball of like lightning pops. Yeah. That's basically what it looks like at the end. So like there was a lot of those different things that happened. In the movie too, like little payoffs and everything.
Now, speaking of payoffs and little nods, do you think it was a nod to Black Adam that his suit? He lost his cape and his suit turned completely black.
I think so.
I was kind of disappointed that they didn't mention it at all. It would have been great if he came back wearing that suit, or it obviously wouldn't have made sense.
And someone was like, "You look like Black Adam."
Or even better, it's just like, "Oh, this isn't my color," and the wizard just kind of flicks his and turns back. But I mean, otherwise, like there's some solid scenes in this movie. This movie is well, it's better put together than the first one. I think the villains made sense at the end, but getting there was a little rough. Like they seemed like just generic people bad. We are the better. Yeah. And it just kind of like Dr. Sylvana, I thought always had better motivations. Yeah. Just that the opening scene of his father getting paralyzed is still like, holy crap. Yeah. But I don't know. I think this movie was definitely a solid improvement on the last one.
Yeah. And you mentioned it before with the director Sandberg about like his horror history and stuff like that, and you see it with the monsters that come from the Tree of Life.
Oh
like a lion, scorpion, bird, and
apparently all of those creatures, there is something about them. They're all obviously they're all based on mythology, but it was like there was a Cyclops, a Minotaur. Let's see, the Manticore. That's the one you were talking about. Yeah, the unicorns, obviously. Trying to think what else pops up. The Harpies. Yeah. But those are all the ones I remember off the top of my head. That might be all of them though.
Yeah. But like the looks of them were terrifying too.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's also talk about how we had a cameo from Michael Gray, who played Billy Batson in the 1970s show, wearing the same shirt. Yeah. I didn't realize it was him at first, but then I saw the shirt. I was like, why does that look familiar? And he says, Go get him, Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And I definitely dug that. And I like when they do stuff like that.
There was quite a few cameos in the movie. So you had Rizwan Manji, the guy from Peacemaker, was in it, but he wasn't playing the same character. You had also Natalia Saffron. She was one of the girls in the car with the kittens.
I don't know who that is.
What's his face from Warner Brothers? Pete Saffron?
Oh.
Yeah.
His wife.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yep. So like there were a couple different cameos and everything, but obviously both of our favorites, was Wonder Woman's cameo because it actually had something to do with it. And again, we got Hardcore and Economos in there too. But then the post-credit scene.
Yeah. Dr. Sivana with his iconic Dr. Sivana beard and Hugo Strange looking setup.
Yep.
Terrible prosthetics though. The mustache was rough to look at. And the return of Mr. Mind.
Yeah. So
and the sequel that's not going to happen.
No.
They're not making a sequel to this, I don't think.
No, cuz at the moment I think it's only made like 15
like 12-ish million as of now.
12 million includes that from Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Today's Saturday, it's early Saturday as of the time of recording. But at first it was projected to make anywhere from 30 to 40, and now they're saying that it's probably going to hit just 30 this weekend.
This is a weird weekend to release a movie. You had St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
You had movies coming. You had Scream and Creed coming out earlier this month. You have John Wick and Dungeons and Dragons of all things coming out later this month. Mm-hmm. Like, it is a tough month to release a movie, and unfortunately, DC just doesn't have the same kind of clout to do it anymore. I don't think. So we'll see what happens with this, and I'm a little nervous.
Well, based off of our Star City ratings, we'll probably sway some people to go see this movie.
You want me to go first?
You can go first, sire.
3.5 out of 5. It is well above average. It is in no way like a perfect movie. It's enjoyable, and I could watch the first movie. I could definitely watch this movie. So I would say the first one, if this is a 3.5, the first one's probably like a 3.75. Like they're pretty close for me.
Yeah,
but what about you?
I agree. The 3.5 and slightly above range, maybe not a 4. Again, it's just as good as the first one, maybe slightly better. There's more to this movie than in the first one. There's a lot more character growth and character development in here. Again, we talked about it earlier. Script / plot had holes at times. Just things that I don't want to think about why this happened. You should tell me, if it's a big thing, why it happened. Yeah. Like we talked about with
Steve
Anthena
and
Steve the Pen.
You need Steve the Pen to write these films.
Yeah, right? I mean,
ridiculous.
That was great.
Do you know how many articles I would have if I had Steve the Pen?
Right?
Infinite articles.
Seriously.
What's even funnier was Pedro had Steve the Pen writing for him. Yeah. He came back and the essay was...
Pride and Prejudice essay.
No, Crime and Punishment.
Was it?
Crime and Punishment.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Because I was like, funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I would tell Steve the Pen, write me the best novel ever.
Yeah.
Okay, Steve the Pen, 500-page novel. Let's go.
Hopefully it's actually really good.
I mean, he knows everything. He knows what would be good.
But
he doesn't get nuance, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently he doesn't get nuance.
Yeah, that was great. But yeah, no, I'll go 3.5 with this. Visually beautiful.
The visuals were much better in this film. The costumes were much better in this film. And so I had a feeling Dr. Sivana was going to cameo, going back references to the first film, when they do the flashback of him breaking the stick.
Yeah.
Not only did they reshoot that with their new costumes, which I was like, continuity.
Yeah, right.
And with Mary being Mary. But I was like, then they showed Dr. Sivana. I was like, they brought him back just to do that. He's definitely going to be back in some other capacity.
I agree.
So, yeah. Fan feedback Friday?
Of course.
All right. So this week, what is your opinion on the current state of comic book TV and movies? I did not specify Marvel or DC. We have honestly starting to be overall the movies. Each movie follows the same sequence. The TV shows are better in his opinion. That's from our friend Mike. We got another a lot of emojis. We have a terrible stinker. Oh, it's not just DC, man. And then our friend Alex wrote, it's becoming too formulaic and the writing needs to mature with its audience. TV shows in general feel like fast food, and I feel like all the money involved is making folks scared to take creative chances. That's fair. That's a solid answer, actually, yeah. But I agree, it's where we kind of sit right now.
Everything is either good or terrible.
Yeah.
You know, there's like nothing in the past 2 years or so kind of like really blew me away or any of us away.
Ever since Endgame.
Yeah. You know, so.
It all ended there.
Yeah. Literally.
But if you guys want to participate in Fan Feedback Friday, it is super easy. You go to our Facebook page, The Multiverse Fancast, every Friday between 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There will be a Fan Feedback Friday question there. Just set your answer, and we will do our best to respond to it on air during our next recording. If you guys are like what you hear, you want to hear some more, you can check us out on all the social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Type in the Multiverse Fancast or the Misfit Faction. You'll find some of our stuff, our material, our other shows. If you go to our website, themisfitfaction.com, you'll find links to all of our shows, including some of our friends, and, of course, our news, reviews, articles, and merch store.
Beautiful job, buddy.
Thanks, I struggled.
Yeah, so that's going to wrap us up for this episode. You can see us in a bit. Just kidding. I wanted to throw Paul off with that.
Why? I'm just going to hit stop at some point.
All right. We'll be back in the flash.
Shazam.
Ciao.